right, Tony. Hey, dude. Congratulations on your World's 2026 win. Show the camera that trophy.
It's pretty awesome.
How are you feeling, man?
Pretty exhausted.
Yeah. You feel good? Felt good about the list? I know you had been posting pictures, flaunting your cool paint jobs of the Bombers for a while. You're like, this is what I'm bringing. This is the progress here. The paint jobs we've been working on. How'd you feel going into this? Did you feel like 4 FO bombers in a Xi shuttle was going to beat the Aces, beat all of that scum that was out there, and take down a really nasty 8-ship list with this gauntlet and 7 ties?
Yeah. So I think first off, I want to just say how I got introduced to the list, and that was I was flying Boba before Boba went up to 21 points with 3 Key Magillas. I'd probably be sitting in the stands at this point watching this instead, and let Sevwall murdered me with it. So
Sevwall does that sometimes.
Yeah. So he introduced me to the list. I kind of tweaked it a little bit, and then just tried to, learn it. And I haven't really found a lot of things, except for Kylo Renee, one of my Airbnb roommates from Denmark. But yeah, the mirror match was the hardest thing. But mostly, I think there's a lot of my streams out there, but people still, I think, really do underestimate the list. So, great showing. I'm super happy that that the community has picked up the game. I really like the game. I like the guy. Everybody that's in here. It gives me my passion for something other than my family. So that's what I like to do. I like this. This game and what it brings joy to me when I play. The prize support here was amazing. AMG gave out basically everything that they had, and Dwight and the OP team was just giving stuff away. So much stuff that my bag's really heavy as I come back and going to the airport this afternoon. But it's pretty amazing. I look forward to next year. It's
defend your title, man.
Defend my title. Who knows if the points will adjust accordingly? So if the Bombers have to be retired, who knows? But yeah, a lot of gauntlet lists out here today, making up into the top 4. I had to play my last 2 rounds were gauntlets. So I think my list was not meant for it, but is a very hard counter to the gauntlet lists, just because of the bombs.
Yeah, Oh, for sure. I mean, how much practice did you get with this list?
Oh, so much. And I've had people go, hey, I tried your list. It's so confusing. I can't get all the triggers down. And every single day when I go walk my dogs for the last 3 months, I recited the list. My dogs are probably a little sad hearing me talk out loud to them, but yeah, no, that's what I would do every morning, and try to just. I don't really have a community in Flagstaff, Arizona, where I live. My closest ones are in Kingman and in Phoenix, but so the online community is where I practice, and I want to say a great thanks to everybody that did play a game with me. It really did help, and so. Oh yeah, but it's a lot. This was 18 games ago. I had never put this on the table for real.
Wow. I mean, it's. I want to say that when you play enough X-Wing, you have a lot of intuition that takes over, and practice I think is really valuable in X-Wing. But I think people over practice a lot, and if you practice 1,000 times, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have success or the kind of success you expect. It really comes down to your experience playing the game itself, your experience playing against other people and their lists and how they play, and your own intuition, your own instincts, your own decision-making skills, and the risks you're willing to take, right? And sorry about the hiccup there, but hey, dude, congratulations, World Champion 2026, Tony Marchand.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks
buddy.
for everything you do, too.
Thanks, man. Safe travels, dude.
Thank you.
You are listening to the 312 Squadron podcast, the podcast that just streamed Worlds. My name is Nick Sperry.
And I'm Andrew Kouba.
I'm Tony.
We are delighted to be joined by Tony, the new World Champion 2026, and the first of the X-WingAlliance era. Tony, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations. I'm sure you're still processing, right? I would be.
No, absolutely. Lots of messages and from people, and still can't believe it all happened. So yes, still processing.
Well, guys, it's been chaotic. But so we had our trip to Milwaukee. We had 4 days of X-Wing just this past weekend, and now back here I've got Patreon stuff to handle, and I've got a new place to move and unpack into. I've got my office space to set up, and I have a deadline for that because the Conquest series starts next weekend. So it's been action packed, but I'm sure we're all kind of processing this past weekend for different reasons, especially for the guy who won the whole thing. It was
Yeah.
quite a great experience, though. Tony, how are you feeling? We'll talk about how we're all feeling, but we'll start with Tony.
Yeah, recovering. Still can't, still missing a few things at work just because, my brain's still a little bit of a mush. I'll be honest with you. But
Mhm.
yeah, no, it's great to be home. But yeah, real excited to be the inaugural XWA World Champion.
Now, this was a world championship where everyone going in was talking about the Empire Swarm list or Fen Rao and Boba Fett in the Scum lists. And those were kind of the two factions that everyone thought were the strongest going in. But you came in with a very unique, like, FO bomber list. How did you prepare for this worlds, and what went into making that decision?
So, unfortunately, I don't have a local community to, to play X-Wing with. I live in Arizona, northern Arizona, so I can go to Phoenix, which is 2.5 hours. I can go to Kingman, which is 2 hours, but I don't have anybody to just go for a game night. So my game nights are all online. So the community is everyone that I play with online, and I appreciate everybody that saw me post and go, "Ugh, I got to play that list again." Sure, why not? And how did I get to the list? I was playing Boba, custom Boba, and 3 Key Magillas. I'd probably be not doing a whole lot at this point with you guys if maybe I didn't get my butt handed to me by Sevwall. And he'll say that he got the list from jamming, and I tweaked it to more of my play style. And that's, less, maybe a little bit less munitions than those two carry. And I like the more bombs. I don't mind the high aces at all. The bombs hate I really think it's a very good counter to the gauntlet lists and those high AC kind of ships because they don't want to be behind my bomber list where they want to flank. It makes them have to really think about, how to approach my type of list. I've watched people take 5 to 10 minutes to set up versus me, even though like I could have my entire list down or just my I2s, and they'll still sit there and him and haw over. Do I put him right in front of the buoys? Do I put it right over on the side and avoid the buoys? Do I go
Yeah.
all in on the buoys? It's a very mental gymnastics for the opponent to try to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some thoughts on the sensor buoys in terms of what I saw from the matchups we had on stream, which we had a couple, and then I'm curious how it related to your experience off stream, right? Most of the event you didn't play on stream.
Mhm.
I saw your opponents set up in a way where they couldn't actually get shots on them, like it was an afterthought, or they just didn't care, and I think that was a mistake. Whatever, the buoys are free, right, for you. They shoot them down. You don't lose any points. They don't gain any points. But with feedback ping and what you can do with the Eye Shuttle, it's the jamming that we saw you jam with them. It's
Yeah.
incredibly powerful, and it's almost like what an E-wing can do, right? That turn 1 or turn 2, that really far extended lock that you could get.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through how often your opponents actually recognized the value of the buoys and tried to do something about them before they became like an actual like factor of the game to help you win?
Sure. So out of the 10 rounds that I played, I'd probably say 4 times, at least once, the opponent didn't understand the buoys. I mean, I explained it, but still one straighted in front of them, right?
Mm.
Most people usually, I mean, you either shoot them, you avoid them, or you try to fly right by them, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do. It really messes with people's setup because they have you in the world, you've pretty much prepared, you've tried you've played online, you played in person, you kind of have your standards set up, and it really messes with people. I've seen people like go all in on the buoys and be range 1 of the buoys staring at a rock. I'm like, great, you killed it,
Yeah.
congratulations. Now what do? Just gonna fly over the rock? So it really does mess with people. 40% of the time I probably lose one. 50% of the time I probably lose two. I mean, I've seen people, Fenrau hard ones from the backboard edge, right? And is out of range. And then focus boosts in or just boosts in. The feedback ping can't go off of the boost action because it's an action, not a maneuver. So they're shooting range one. Again, no fearless because there's no front arc and things like that. But you're going to lose the buoys. It's okay. It usually messes with people so much. You might get your target lock, absolutely. And that's kind of the goal. I know when I played Joel on stream, I think this is the one you're talking about. My brain was mush, but I was super happy to make day two already going into that one. I made some mistakes looking back, and I watched the game again to try to learn from it. But Boba kept flying just kind of around it, and I kept jamming Boba with biohacks encryption codes and taking that lock with the sensor buoy the next round. So he kept kind of chuckling too as I kept doing it from a distance. And that's another thing too, is like if for some reason you don't kill that buoy or you don't get your arcs on that buoy and it can take that target lock with the buoy's ability. I mean, the next round, the Psy shuttle is so far away, it can take that turn to jam that ship from across the board. You're just rolling into a whole bunch of shots, most likely without a defensive token.
That's like one of the powerful things about that bomber list, even with the added sensor buoy, is its ability to control space even when you're not directly threatening anything.
Mm-hmm. And by the time round two goes around, normally I have Grudge in the middle of the board, and they're so fast. I think people underestimate how fast the bombers are.
Yeah.
With a boost 4 straight, and then if nobody was around, a lot of times I use that first action to target lock from the Psy shuttle onto Grudge to give him that barrel roll also with a focus. So just kind of gives him a lot of flexibility to move around the board, especially when the other guys might be getting objectives or kind of getting in position while he's blocking.
I think something that people also forget about with them is that they are 3 agility and 2 hull. So you might not even be able to destroy them with the chance that you have early in the game unless you have multiple shots going into it. So that's another thing that I think strategically really is advantageous for you, is that you can put them on a rock so they get the obstruction.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can move quick enough and threaten enough with your list that your opponent only really has one good opening or window to try to destroy them before it's like, what's the point? I feel like Dark One probe droids also benefit from that kind of situation as well.
No, totally. The yeah, they get one round, and I mean it's 4 dice, 5 if it's range 3, but normally just 4 dice, and no mods, of course. Um, so I mean, if you have one shot, it can usually handle one shot normally, um, but 2 shots, it gets a little tricky, just statistically.
Tony, I'll be honest, when Andrew and I were driving to the convention Sunday morning, I told him that I didn't think that your list would be able to deal with the scum high initiative stuff that I've been seeing so much of. And it wasn't because I didn't believe in you. It was really just because I thought that with just the way the composition of the bombers, that it would be difficult to deal with like a Boba, a Fenrau, a Dengar, etc. But clearly that wasn't, it was definitely a challenge for you, but it was something you could overcome, right? So walk me through probably what was the thing you really didn't want to see and what was something that you felt was a really good matchup for you.
So what I didn't want to see was Renee's list, Kylo Renee, which was my mirror match. So you look at the top 16 going into Sunday, 5 of the 16 were in my Airbnb, including myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tremendous skills at that point of all top 16. When I saw that I was third and Renee was 14, I was just like, I mean, I stayed up so late that night, and I watched his stream game at like 2 a.m. I was so nervous. Probably not the best thing to do to try to get prepared for, get some sleep and get some rest. But his buoys are out there. It's a mirror match, right? That's all it is.
Right.
He had Dread. I had Grudge. He's got Ions, which is horrible for my list, right? And which was really funny. And I know, we're on a podcast and I try not to get too into detail, but I was trying to figure out how to bomb his buoys. Round one, I imagined, what I was trying to imagine was 3 slooping Grudge and dropping a bomb. The thermals on him. And I'm like, well, then Grudge is out of the game the entire time, right? He's stressed. It's just not going to be good. So he put one in the far left 2-2 corner. He put the other one kind of like the center objective, but on my side and a little to the left. That's where his buoys ended up. Mine were in the 2 corners, just like normal. So Grudge bank boosted and then hard two'd. Oh, well, now I'm facing my board edge, right? And I skilled bombardier 2 and a 3, the thermals, right in the middle of both of them. I mean, it worked out for me. I got a damage in, and then later, next round, Scorch killed a buoy, and that really opened up my lanes. But that was one of my hardest ones. And then I really find that the Joel Springle's list, a Boba and a Dengar, something that has a lot of bulk. If there's multiples of that ship or a lot of bulky ships, it's very difficult for my list. I can handle the Fenrows because of the cluster mines. Not saying he's predictable, but I mean, if he's stressed, he's doing a 2 Earth, 2 bank probably, or 2 hard. So you know where to be if you need to bump him. And then you just boost past and drop the cluster mine on him, and he's sad. And when it came to the gauntlet lists, I don't have a problem with them that much because of the bombs. And I have the initiative, but dice are dice, and they can always make it so you could be sad, really. But I played Marchand. I played him on Thursday in the fun Swiss pod. I got to play him. I also played him a week before that in the Top Gun League. So both of he and I knew each other's lists and kind of how we played and that kinds of stuff. But I did face a total of 3 gauntlet lists, the 2 in the top 4 and then the final. But I also faced one the day prior.
Yeah, so you had some practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bombs, of course, did all the work. I mean, did a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even we watched that final match too on stream, and it does force those swarm pilots to fly strangely against your list in a way that they normally wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, on the final, when I had Grudge with his rear end facing his big swarm and everything and dropped 2 thermals, if those thermals aren't there, I mean, I really do believe he just hards 2 and everybody's faced in the middle starting to shoot my list.
Mm-hmm.
Really deterred that from happening.
I also want to thank you for sparing us from the Gauntlet versus Gauntlet Swarm mirror match on stream. I feel like with how great everything was going that whole weekend, for the final game to be those 2 lists going against each other, it would have just been, I think everybody, including the players, would have been a little miserable trying to experience that. It's a cool list to see on stream,
Yeah.
especially because it has a gauntlet in it. But to see that going up against itself would have been probably a little bit of a downer. I have no problem saying that. I think the players would have found it difficult to keep track of everything as well, especially if they all have the ships are painted the same and everything like that. That's hard. Your matchup was exciting for that reason as well.
Sure. Each of the 3 gauntlet lists that I did face were slightly different.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was more of, one of them had the boost in it. I can't remember. And then one had the commando is, I mean, they all had Tarkin, but yeah. So I think it was Moff Gerard. One of them had Moff Gerard, and
Yep.
so,
Yeah, Jared Gerard gives you the boost,
Jared
and then
Gerard,
Tarkin gives you the locks. Yeah.
So they're all just slightly different, but again, I think it really does show the power of that list. All well flown by all of those guys.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them didn't make it. It was at, one was at 17 and could have almost had 3 in the top 16 of the same list.
Yeah, I was talking. I can't remember his name. Super nice guy who made top 16, who claimed he was the architect of the list.
Oh yeah, Brad.
Brad,
I played
yeah,
him in the top
super
4.
super cool dude.
Yeah, that one wasn't on stream, but in that game, round 2, first round of combat, but round 2, I removed the gauntlet. It was a
Right, I
series
saw
of,
that. Yeah, top 4. That was your top 4 game.
yeah, it was my top 4 game. Yeah,
Yeah.
with 3 shots. It was like everything went right for me, and unfortunately, Brad, nothing went right for him. Including a hull breach from the concussion missile and a direct hit, and it was just crits of galore.
Yeah. No, I gave him a little pat on the back, and I said it's like inventing the stomach ache. 'Cause he was so proud to tell me how he created this list or whatever. I'm like, it's like inventing the stomach ache, and he laughed really hard about that. Yeah, no, it's just I think he understood why I said that at that stage, because again, we knew what was on the line with who could play who. But yeah, Brad was really impressive run for him, and we'll talk a little bit about the top cut breakdown in terms of what stands out with the lists.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
Tony, I wanna ask you, like, when did it feel real? Like, when at one point did you feel like, you know what, I could win this whole thing? Obviously, you make top cut. Your goal is to go as far as possible. But
Sure.
was that a thing that was running through your mind, or are you trying to just lock in and just play your game, and just, each game is a game of X-Wing, right?
I mean, I need to just take back to the top 16 with Renee. I think either one of us could have done a really great job in the run, and it wasn't on stream. We had a good crowd of people around at the end, and that game came down to literally he landed in a bomblet with Breach, who had 2 shields down, and he rolls a hit or a crit. I win. If he doesn't, then he wins on the tiebreaker. That's how close it was.
Wow.
And he rolled a crit and a blank. And I just probably right about there. I think that was because I had to get past him, and it was so hard. That one was probably about the time where I said maybe this might be there, and I wasn't trying to pay too much attention to the score and anything like that in the final game. But you got the peanut gallery staring over at you and everything like that. And there's some you always kind of glance around and stuff like that, and I kind of could feel it happening towards the middle of the game with the possibility. I mean, again, anything can happen still in one game, even halfway through it. So, and I think at that point, a lot of people were like, the smiles on the face and things like that. I turned around and looked at the camera because I had my family watching.
That was a great moment. The screenshots that we got. I'm glad we tuned back into the player cam to just let that happen. You
Yeah.
did an awesome job just locking in the camera and doing that. That was amazing.
Yeah, and my daughter decided to take screenshots and send them to me, of course,
Oh, that's awesome.
of those me waving at the camera and everything. So it was incredible and super excited, of course, of how it all turned out. But kind of in preparation for doing all this stuff, I know that I played a lot of games online.
Yeah.
My first game was on Thursday, putting it on the table. I moved them around on the kitchen table a little bit, right? Of course, we all do that, but never actually played a game. Went 4-0 on Thursday. So at that point, I thought, I might be able to make day 2. And then I had to play Renee in the middle, round 3 on Friday. I played Renee and he beat me. So I was 2-1. So 4-1 on the full day, which is great. But you get 2-0 and you feeling you're all there and you're like, oh, this is really going to happen. And then you face your hard counter, which is yourself,
Hmm.
your list, who knows what they're doing, and Renee does, and and you lose, and you're like, it was so hard.
Right.
It was a great
Yeah.
game, but yeah,
I was gonna bring that up. It's kind of wild that you had to face Renee twice, like in this tournament too. It felt like a movie moment.
I had to face Isaiah Dinjarin. I
Yeah.
faced him twice too, and I only beat him in Swiss on a one thermal to get half points on Fen. It's the only reason I won that game at the
Wow.
end, last round, and then I played him again at the top 8 on stream.
Yeah. It's like very Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, well, it was like his game before that he was playing Obi-Wan, which they played in Swiss also, and Obi-Wan Juan got the win there, but the redemption, in Top Cut, of course, and I was like so nervous. Like, I mean, he knows we've played online, we know everything we've played each other in Swiss. Now we have to play each other in the top 8.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like redemption, right? I mean, you play somebody twice, they know what you're doing. It's not a secret. So, but you can watch that game again. You guys streamed that one, and that was very lopsided with the dice. And I think when you
You were rolling like a T-70 defensively.
Yeah,
Two
honestly.
points.
they're like crappy T70s, right? I mean, unless they
Yeah,
have
and
target lock.
we were giving him some crap because I know that he didn't roll very well, but he also rocked himself and took half the 2 damage from that. He took a bunch
Yep.
of bomb damage,
and you had
and then
a
he got jammed when he took a really
right.
good shot without a focus token, rolled all
Yes.
paint, just no
Yeah,
focus.
that was so key. Like, I mean,
That was.
Yeah,
I mean, that shuttle doesn't live much longer if he takes 5 from Fen, instead of one, like 2, right? With fear, well, I didn't think I took
yeah.
anything, or took 1 maybe.
No, I think he had 2 with Fearless. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yep, yeah. That Fen is so good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Very good value, I think, without being controversial one way or the other. You can't
Yep.
argue with the value you get that Fen Rao. yeah, Dejarin was also rocking our Fen Route base plate, so I was able to give it to him, which was cool to
Yeah.
see that. Just gonna quickly segue. We're gonna tie you back into this, Tony. With on the stream side of things, this was from when we started just streaming on a countertop at my ex girlfriend's place, which now is actually just around the corner from where I live now, kind of full circle in a weird way.
Welcome back. Yeah.
Right? Question mark. To to doing that casually to streaming the biggest event we could ever stream for this channel is really a big deal for us, and I've been working up to it for as long as I can remember now, and hoping that one day I'd have the chance to stream something like Worlds. I always looked up to Dion and GSP
Hmm.
and what they were able to do at all their events worldwide, but Worlds was theirs. It was, and they it belonged to them, and they deserved those opportunities to stream it.
Hmm.
But with Dion announcing that GSP was going to wrap up, I couldn't think of anybody else that would be able to do what our channel was able to do. And I know that sounds a little cocky to say, but we had everything we needed to be able to put on the right kind of show. And I felt really excited about the opportunity. A lot of people asked me if I was nervous about it. And if it wasn't for this move, I probably would have been way more nervous about it. And it didn't really kick in until final table. And I just started to think about, well, what if the dice cam just stops working here in the last round? And like, what if, and obviously at the end of the interview there, that camera gave out, which sucked, but wasn't like the end of the world.
Thank God it waited
But
to
it
the
wasn't
end.
until then that I think about, oh my gosh, like I've been able to stave off all this anxiety until now. I want to give a shout out to Matt. Matt has become one of my best friends, especially in X-Wing. Andrew, right there with him. Both of them streaming with me and together doing commentary. Jason Grimm was incredible. He helped do scorekeeping and commentary for us. Catherine jumped on. Greg jumped on from NCX. Jorge was able to join, and Tyler was able to join. So it was cool to have like a full team, because this is a team effort. This is
Yeah.
not my channel. This is our channel, and it really belongs to the whole community. Whether they decide to throw a few dollars at Patreon or not, it ultimately doesn't matter. It all belongs to all of us, and that's the kind of stream I wanted to deliver. So I wanted to just give a real big shout out to my team and to everybody that really was way too generous in giving their time and their money to the channel to support us and to continue what we've been really building up to. So thank you to all of you. It's really been humbling, and it's been exciting. I'm still processing just how successful this stream was. Tony, what was it like as a player from Swiss to the highest level playing on our stream? I'd just love to hear. You could give me positive or constructive feedback or whatever you want to say. How did it feel to play on our stream?
Yeah, no, playing on the stream was great. I'm not somebody who likes to roll in the dice box. That's me. I like my dice, superstitious, whatever you want to call it. I mean, your dice
Mhm.
turned out to be awesome, by the way.
They're so hot.
Right,
They're
I was
so
gonna
hot.
say.
Right? I needed to stay on. I felt a little sad at the final table when I had to go back and switch sides. I didn't know if the other dice were going to be as hot. I don't know. But yeah, no, it very well run. One of the things that from like last year to this year that I enjoyed differently was I didn't have to turn my score sheet in. I like to keep in that personally, just to kind of do some statistics on how many rounds I played and
Yeah.
that kinds of stuff. I mean, we just use roll better and put our scores in like a normal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. So I enjoyed not having to have to go one of us go and turn in a score sheet somewhere and somebody was checking things out.
Yeah. I wrote notes
Seemed
on the back of mine
Yeah, that's helpful.
from the game. Yeah.
yeah. And the other thing that I saw, maybe it was a little more relaxed because we were, down on the first floor. Again, my list, of course, right, has a lot of boosting actions. It has a lot of bumping eventually when we all get together in that joust kind of a thing. But I didn't have one person call it me and ask me, in Swiss to call for a judge and say, I need him to move your chips.
Mm.
It's Worlds. Everyone's excited to be there. Everyone wants to play at the highest level possible, but we're all just playing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that versus the year before where I brought 2 years before that, I had Jorge's list, the three arcs, two torrents, and a Z. In Swiss, I kind of continued to get better and better and better, and I got up to that first row of tables, and I think I had an 8 judge call that day because on that one game, because he kept saying, "Can you move the judge move your ship, not you?" And again, it's competitive, and I totally get it, but it felt a little more relaxed, even though it was
Yeah, I'm
Worlds.
not a fan
Yeah.
of Tilt Wing. Tilt Wing is dumb.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I think the judges were awesome. They did never had to
Yeah.
wait long for some of the judges to show up. I even had one sit at the side of the table and not say be my personal judge, but he knew that Renee and I were going to have one heck of the game, and it was the game in Swiss when I lost, and he was just there to help us remind things, and if we needed him, he ran away to go do other things when he needed to, but I always sat there and watched our game. So
Yeah.
it was good. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a good segue into asking you both about just how the first XWA Worlds was for both of you, from turnout, which was just short of 120 people, to prizes, and the way Dwight Lindsay, shout out to Dwight, ran the event. I have nothing but great things to say about him and Greg. Greg was his
Yeah.
head judge. How was the event for you guys?
The event was absolutely incredible. Like I said, it was kind of nice being in that first floor
Mhm.
where it was a little quieter, kind of had some mood lighting to go with our X-Wing games. But it was so fun just reconnecting with everybody who I haven't seen since last Worlds. And while we were still playing at a professional level and at a very high level, did have a more friendly feel to them, I feel, than in Worlds past. I also thought it was kind of cool this time around being able to use all the alt art cards and tokens and stuff that the community has made and has spent so much time lovingly put together, and being able to see all of that creativity on the board as we play at such a high level was also extremely cool for me.
Yeah, with the cards, right? I mean, I printed five Infinite Arena giant standard loadout looking cards, right, for my list,
Hmm.
and laminated them. I brought all
Perfect.
my normal cards in case anybody needed to see them, but it just makes moving from table to table so much easier.
So much easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know,
That's our sponsor right there, baby.
I know absolutely, and
The great, wow, we didn't even tell Tony to do that, guys. He just did it.
yeah, check out Infinite Arena for all your best things. I know. Um, but the price support that AMG came forward with, I mean, Dwight said it while we were there. I mean, they kind of emptied their storehouse. I mean, we had
Oh my
dice
God.
from the last 2 years Worlds. We had cardboard. We had, he had so many ships to give away, and we know how much all those ships cost these days. So, I mean, he was just raffling off, walking around, handing stuff off. If you were playing Swiss or doubles, I mean, there was so much stuff. I mean, besides the stuff that was, we were all looking for with those, brand new glass dice. I mean, the not a lot of people knew, but he had printed a few XWA exclusive damage decks for Worlds.
Hmm.
Those are pretty awesome. So there was so much good prize support, and there was a lot left over too. So I don't know if that will just hang around for next year. I don't know if that will be what our system open store championship regionals get. So some of these, but those metal holocron things were awesome, like super
So cool.
cool. So excited to get those out in the community for sure.
When I came back home, I was showered with so much prizes that I put them all on my kitchen table. It filled the entire kitchen table. And I called my fiance over. I felt like James Franco in Spring Breakers, being like, "Look at all my stuff."
I have it sitting right over
You
here.
could have just you could have showered with him, like
Yep.
you said. You were showered it with. You could have just taken a shower with all your
Oh,
prizes.
I was making it rain with the alt art
Oh,
cards that we had gotten in the packs of the
yep.
2019 Worlds or generic cards. Yeah.
Yep. For
What do
sure.
you think of those dice?
Yeah. They're gorgeous. They're heavy. Like I was surprised of how
They are.
heavy they were. They're a little bigger. I can't like
Yeah.
percentage wise. I don't know how much bigger they are. Like 15-20% larger. I don't know. But they're heavy. They're really heavy comparatively to normal dice.
And they're fragile too. You guys at PSA, to those who won them, you know they will. You will want to be careful about how you roll them, and how hard
Yeah.
you throw them around. What I recommend is the tyranny of one agility. If you're rolling a one agility ship, a die for that, you just pick one of those bad boys up and you roll. And then for a
No,
console fire or anything like that, oh yeah,
that's a
if you
trophy.
only
That's
have a
not.
pair.
That's so it's a tough
That's
one
not meant
between a
for rolling.
trophy and playing with, right? That's I talked to a few folks about it. It's like, well, they're kind of like trophy kinds of stuff. bring them with, show people, maybe do
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying
What do you
there.
think of the stream dice, Tony? Because they were
Oh,
hot for you, but how'd they feel rolling those?
yeah, nice. I mean, I've seen you use them on streams before. I've never used them. World Champion is a great title. I mean, good teammate for NCX is a great title too. But I've never made it that far in a tournament before. I mean, and making it far in a tournament is as many people will tell you is match your matchups, right? I take a hard
Hmm.
counter if I take that. I really think a hard counter for me, besides Renee, might be that Torkel list. That could melt me quick, I think.
Yeah.
And then a lot of dice luck, right? I mean, at least 2 or 3 games came down to the last roll, and they all went my way, and that's why I'm here. So yeah.
Andrew and I agree. I think everyone does.
Mhm.
When to win a tournament, you have to have some luck. Like
Yeah.
you have to. It's not just
Yeah.
you made the perfect decisions and flew perfectly with your maneuvering and everything. Like no, the times when your opponent has a range one shot and rolls 3 blanks, the times where you have no mods and need natties and you roll natties, those are the moments that really move the needle enough for someone to
Hmm.
declare a winner of a tournament.
Yeah.
It,
And
it, it
Yeah,
just is
we've
what it
all
is.
been there on those. So many games come down to that last dice roll.
yeah. And I know everyone looks for perfection, and I still go back to look at that top 10 on your stream against Joel, and how I thought I had it well in hand and just couldn't finish it out. But if I beat Joel, I probably end up in first in the seeding, and I play Merchant in the top 16 instead.
Hmm.
Um, so again, the SOSs and things could have changed if I win and don't win, lose, and things like that. But I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, it kind of all just fell into place for me.
Here's a spicy question for you, Tony. And there's no implications when I ask this, but just curious. How'd you feel about going when you went up against lists that had 6+ ships, or I mean, when you went up against this gauntlet list or Brad's list? How'd you feel about the pace of player? Then were you happy with the number of rounds that you got in? Because I know that um, our top 4 game on stream, I think we got 4 rounds in.
Yep.
It was a really long game. I'm not going to say that they were slow playing. It was a long game and not a lot of rounds. It's challenging when you have that many ships and you're playing at such a high level. You don't want to rush anything. How
Sure.
did you feel about the pace of play just through from Swiss on to the end?
Yeah. So actually have all of my cards, and I can tell you that I had 2 games that went 8 rounds. I had 5 games that went 7, 4 games that went 6, and um, 7 games that went 5. So when you look at all those statistics, it's like 6.1 rounds per game for me. And like 8 of them went to, because again, I'm counting the 4 that I did on the Thursday. 8 of them went to points, like I scored 50 points or more by the end of the time, and then 10 of them went to time. I don't think a lot of times it was me taking longer than my opponent. And again, that can be that, of course, I know my list and I know what I want to do quickly. Um, Again, I had to think about some things. It's a brain mush of a list. If with a boost, still hard to figure out where that boost lands you. If you go 4 straight after a boost, you're going to land on a rock. But a lot of times the opponent takes a lot longer than I do. So, and a lot of times, you know, that does kind of play into my favor, because the lists will take usually 1 or 2 rounds to get into combat. I do take a good alpha strike, if you'll call it that, or first round strike. Again, I4s, right? Not really alpha, but rolling in with double mods, and then the next round there's bombs, that kinds of stuff, or the round after that. So I was pretty surprised. At least I got 7 of the games went to 7 or 8 rounds of mine, which is pretty impressive for the amount of times I have
Yeah,
to move
that's
my
awesome.
ships and or my opponent moving theirs.
Yeah, I think I was it Andrew. I think it was Andrew. I was talking on the way back from Milwaukee. We were driving back home, and I'm a big fan of games that feel complete or feel like you've kind of hit that. Like by the time is called, you're like, yeah, like that was like that felt like a a pretty full game of X-Wing, even with not if every ship is destroyed. That almost never happens, right? Especially not in competitive play. What can feel weird is like when time is called and there's like 2 ships have been destroyed, or like 1 ship's been destroyed, and like 2 have been halved.
Yep.
And we definitely saw some of that, especially I think in Top Cut, because you have to take longer to make decisions because you want to like win the whole tournament. So it's not me faulting anyone from like taking their time. But when even I think even with your game, I'm trying to remember, you had destroyed the guy by the end. I believe you had destroyed 3 or 4 ships. It was like I think it was at least 3. You will remember better than I
Yeah,
did,
and I
just
know I
because you
half the
played.
gauntlet. It lived on 1, I think.
Yeah, right. So the
And
gauntlet wasn't destroyed. You got a couple ties, and I think you halved another 1 or 2 of them.
yeah,
And then he didn't. He destroyed none of your ships, right?
Scorch at the end.
Scorch at the very end. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. At the very end, the last couple of shots.
yeah.
And I thought that was a really unique game because he couldn't come in and engage with you because of the bombs. So he just kept going straight for a while. So about 35, 40 minutes of the game, he was kind of trying to carve into the middle of the board, but kept going straight because of where you were putting bombs.
Yeah.
Um, and then by the end, when he was finally able to take something off the board, time was called, right? You guys just ran out of that time.
Yep.
And I thought you played that game incredibly well. You had a really nice flank setup. And you put so much pressure on him that he wasn't really able to shoot for half the game.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
that
think
was
that
really fascinating.
and I think that also comes to play in Marchand. I mean, I've played him, I mean, twice, and he knows my list. I beat him both times, not hand over fist or anything like that. I mean, it was 35-29 or something along those lines, right? It was close, and when you can drop bombs and then just delay fuse them, and then those ties don't have a choice, right? They either hard one and bump themselves, or hard one and not shoot anything, or they're going into bombs. So I think he was just trying to do something maybe a little different than I had seen before. And with Grudge getting so far into the middle of the board, or the mm, corner of the board, if you would, those thermals were just going to prevent that. Because, I mean, Grudge with rerolls and 2 thermals on a whole bunch of TIE fighters, you could half the entire list. Maybe not, but, some of them are going to get halved quickly.
Definitely. I do want to give some honorable mentions to some of the top 16 lists. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. We typically don't do like full rundowns, and there was a lot of scum. It's not surprising. Scum has really made a really good name for itself, which has been refreshing considering a couple years ago everyone was making fun of how bad scum was, and how like if you brought scum to a tournament you were just playing for fun because you couldn't win. Not the case anymore. In Tony's case, great to see First Order have another victory. Historically, First Order hasn't won much in terms of the highest level events. Like we did 2023 Worlds, I believe. Nicholas God won with a FO list, and to see you, Tony, pull it out with an FO list without really any ace play involved was really cool. But I want to give a shout out to a couple of players here. Obi-Wan bringing a Republic, which has been more recently not faring as well as you would think. Had a Contrail, Rick Ali, Obi-Wan, and Anakin Skywalker. Those are 2 7Bs in there. We also saw Joel with the 3 ship scum, which was pretty fun. Boba, Fen, and Dengar. Joel made top 8. He did an amazing job. Dr. Djarin had the Mandalorian and the Razor Crest with the Child and Gamut Key, joined by Dallin Overos, Kanan Jarrus, and Fen Rao. And Eelmail had another scum list, but this one had Ketsu, Kanan, Sarasu, and Fen Rao. Those are the armed and dangerous Fen Raos, by the way. I want to give a big shout out to my boy Chris Jenner. Daytimes with Chris over on NCX. Definitely tune in NCX during the daytimes. Chris will be streaming 2 to 3 times a week at the old kind of hexiled time slots. But he brought a 4-ship Empire list and played incredibly well. He also made top 8. He had a Soontir, Rack, Lieutenant Sai, and Wampa list. Really simple on paper, but really powerful, especially because you have Soontir and Rack and Sai side by side, giving each other all the things. And lastly, our Sather, I'm not exactly sure who that is,
Rob,
but he had a Major Von Rig, Quick Draw, TN 3465, Epsilon Squadron Cadet, and Agent Terex list. It's cool to see Von Rig playing well.
And
Um,
I don't. You guys got that one on stream, I think. At least one of his, I think. I didn't get a chance to go back and
I
look.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was wrecking it. Like, was he 4-1? I think on the first day. I mean, he'd throw Tina at people and just sacrifice Tina to kill people. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to play a local who would do that. It was real unfun. Tina's a great sacrifice. Yeah,
Well,
I
for
mean, it was just
you.
yeah, it was real unfun to play against for all of us. I have bad memories. I actually that's a pilot that I feel like just has not been played, has been shelved for so long.
Yep.
So that was neat to see things come back at the highest level. And then Ted, Torkel Mux Zuckus, an Outer Rim Hunter. That's the rogue class Starfire with proton cannons, and 4 mining guild sentries with precision ion engines. And of course, Brad and Marson bring in their gauntlet and 7 Obsidian Squadron pilots. I don't know
So
how they can play an entire event with those things. Kudos to them. I just wouldn't be able to do it. I would just stop. Can't do it.
just generically looking at the overall at the top 16, there are 3 players that went 5-0 on day 2 on Saturday to get there. I mean, I know Xander and Obi-Wan were 3-2 going into Saturday. They had a tremendous run the second day. That's
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Jay Cruz, 2 of the guys from the team league. Jay Cruz, always up to no good, but it was cool to beat Xander in person. Xander is Juan's
Brother-in-law.
brother-in-law. Yeah, it was cool to meet him in person.
Yep.
And then the Slouch Innkeeper 1-6 at the top here. I never heard of him.
No.
Breach, Scorch, Jewel, Jirjarog, Grudge, and First Order. Interesting. I wonder how he did.
Seemed to manage.
He won the whole damn thing. Spoiler. Guys, let's before we wrap up here in a little bit, let's talk about some speculation on what we might see with the points change, especially since we've seen meta really brought out at Adepticon. It's kind of the height of the meta, right? Is a Worlds event. What are a couple of things that you guys might expect to see changed? What bothers you, if anything?
I mean, I think looking at the entire event, possibly the armed and dangerous Fen is a little undercosted. But I think we all kind of think that because he's great value at 5 hull and all his tools. Maybe that one a little adjustment. I can see how the gauntlet lists do so well. Again, bombs aside, right? If I didn't bring a bomb list, it's a scary thing to face. So I don't know what the right call is. I mean, we pip, XWA's pipped a lot of the X-Wings. I don't know if that will happen. I don't know if there's a loadout change, that could possibly tweak it enough that it's not as powerful, but probably I could see the committees looking at, those types of results and, maybe seeing what could be done. Not a lot of representation. Yes, there's one CIS, one Republic list. I mean, maybe some adjustments in those factions to give them a little more.
Yeah, I would echo that sentiment as well.
I'd like my bombers to stay, but a little biased, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a great hand on the pulse of the meta right now. I've gotten more of it after Worlds, of course. It does seem like, based on where Soontir is, in terms, this is the Battle over Endor Soontir and the cost of Armed and Dangerous Fen Rao. I'm a little puzzled by that. Definitely think Armed and Dangerous Fen Rao is undercosted. He gets the extra hull as well, which I think is just so filthy. Allows him to be even more aggressive
with Beskar.
Yeah, Beskar has got that adaptable power systems to swap out his stress for depletes, vice versa, right? So really strong, and he's got fearless still. But otherwise, I think there's probably some work that needs to be done for Rebels and Republic. Minor tweaks there. I think win rate ultimately, and I know Draft League is just started. Tony or one of the captains. That's a great data entry or data point. That whole season and seeing win rates and how people are doing with their factions. There is some some skew in there with certain player level skill in what faction they're playing, but ultimately you kind of want everything to be within a couple points of 50% win rate, because that means that there's a good balance across each faction compared to each faction, right? And so I'm really curious to see. I have all the intel in front of me that I can look at for what they're changing, but I choose not to look at it all because I like to be as surprised as everyone else once these changes are made. And I'm not a part of the points team, so I don't like to to spend too much time digging into the areas I'm not responsible for or not working with either. But that's going to be happening soon. It's going to be in the next couple of weeks, folks. I do not believe it will be before Conquest or by Conquest, but it will be within a few days of that for sure. It could happen before, but I wouldn't expect it to happen.
So the Bombers might make it into the play there.
I think you have a good chance of being able to bring that. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Just gotta ask the wife if I have enough wife points saved up still.
Well, you won the whole damn thing, man.
She's married to a champion now, so you have a
Yeah.
title to defend.
King of the nerds. That's what she said.
I'm going to jump to our second to last segment. There's a couple we've already talked about, but we had some questions from the audience. The shout out to Andrew for asking our podcast audience about what they wanted to hear about. So here's a couple that I'm going to pick from our list. Some of these we've already done. What was cool or interesting at the convention? I'm going to ask these three questions. We'll start with Tony, and then Andrew, you'll answer as well. So anything cool or interesting at the convention? You guys were busy playing, but if you noticed anything. 2, was there any cool places that you went to eat for breakfast, dinner, etc.? And lastly, how was doubles? Andrew, you'll be able to answer that one, the side events. We'll start with Tony.
Yeah, I'll say I got in the hall at 8:30 in the morning and didn't leave it to go to other than the bathroom until 7 o'clock at night. But afterwards, the best part is going out, right? I mean, going eating pizza or going to a pub, just hanging out with the guys and everybody that's there. I play a lot of the folks online, but I don't know them. And it felt like that was a great experience. Everybody's, of course, you're doing great. You got this, that kinds of stuff as you go through Swiss or even the second day 2, but reaching out to people again, I know that some people, I know their discords, but I don't know them. So getting to hang out, and that was great. And then, yeah, I wish I will also say that I didn't get a chance to say this before, but we kind of moved from if you were there last year, we were up on the 3rd floor with all the AMG stuff, right, in the vendor hall, which was nice because you could just go and walk around the vendor hall at, if you have a break or a few minutes before lunch is over or anything like that. But I dropped a ship last year and it broke. I dropped a ship this year and it was carpet. It didn't break.
Yeah.
That was very nice. So that was exciting for me to not break my ship.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Andrew, most interesting thing at the convention? Interesting or best places that you experience food at, dinner, breakfast. We actually made a breakfast at the Airbnb together as a group. That was really fun.
That was very fun.
And then how was doubles?
I think much like Tony, this year I spent most of my time at the convention in X-Wing. If I wasn't playing a game, then I was trying to jump in and do commentary, or I was trying to play any of like the other side events. They had a really cool canyon run this year, and they also had a First Order Resistance assault on the Star Destroyer game, which was very cool too. So the X-Wing stuff was really great. This is the first year I didn't get to like check out the rest of the convention, but it was so cool meeting people that I've developed these relationships with online, like in person and from all over the world. That's always like the coolest part of it. Now I will say Tony and I had a great meal at a place called the Holland Club, and that was some of the best fried fish I've ever had. So shout out to the Holland Club. That's pretty good.
Shout out to the Holland Club. I thought Broadhouse, once again, second time been to Broadhouse, and I love that place. Build your own sausage. Yes, please. I'll put all the toppings on there and pay way too much for a sausage, but it's very tasty.
When you get a beer, you get one free.
My arteries are starting to unclog after Milwaukee. It's a process, these trips. You're not going to eat the healthiest. And the streams we survived off of Rice Krispie treats, fruit snacks, and Miss Vicky's chips as well when we couldn't leave to get food. So that helped, but not real good for you. But to me, the most interesting thing is shout out to Doug Kenny once again for bringing the Lego Beggars Canyon back and having people do a whole run through there with the pod racing game and then the other kind of mini game that he was doing with people just flying their ships through and attacking each other. It's like racing from one point to the other. So him and we're talking about maybe streaming something like that in the future. We'll see what that's like, but that would be cool. So I think that was probably still the most interesting thing. And that wasn't what the convention provided. It was something he brought. Doug is the first ever world champion for X-Wing as well, which is super cool. That's what I got for that, and I want to thank our audience once again for chiming in there, and we appreciate being able to include you guys in these podcasts because we do them for you. They're not for ourselves. Maybe the off-topic ones might sound for ourselves sometimes, but we still do this for you as well. But yeah, is there anything else you guys want to say about Adepticon before I just do some final stuff on the Team League and the Conquest series?
I did get to see. I mean, I don't know personally Chris Allen, but I did get to see him, and it sounded like they came down, him and some of the other judges that we've known throughout the years who kind of work for Adepticon now, and played down and played doubles for a little bit. That was
Yeah.
pretty neat to see. And doubles isn't, if you're in the area and you can't do a full 3 day or whatever X-Wing giant tournament, you're 1 day there with your kids and you're just passing through, it's okay to sign up for like doubles. It's
Yeah.
a fun event. Those side events
Oh
are
yeah,
great.
Andrew, how was doubles? I don't think I got that one from you.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that it is my favorite way to play X-Wing. Honestly, I think we can probably do a whole nother like episode where we just talk about the
Oh, the
side
lists.
events, like
Oh,
and the list. Oh my god. Honestly, we could just do a whole episode on doubles because there were some crazy lists.
do you see the Yoda with Kanan?
I played against it. Yeah. And we won.
Oh,
So, yeah, they had
crazy.
the Kanan Yoda list, which is just every shot, you're only rolling like one less die. We played against a version of that was Kanan Gorin, yeah, in Manaru, which was bananas. There were some really creative doubles lists going on. Yeah.
That's hilarious. That's so funny.
And I was gonna say, I played against, Tony and, Jorge last year's double tournament. Honestly, that game against both of you taught me so much about X-Wing. Like, that was one of a pivotal moment where I felt like I took a lot away from that game, and then also Jorge, after our game, ended up breaking down all of the mistakes that we had made and what his thoughts were and how he capitalized on that, which was one of the coolest X-Wing experiences I've had. So, I just wanna, thank you and Jorge for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we all would have preferred to be playing in the actual tournament during, last year, but
Yeah,
just to play with somebody that is a great skilled player and learn from that and have that conversation. I mean, it's a great thing to do even on your a Friday night at your game store.
mhm,
Pair people up with a great skilled player maybe and a newer player to help them out. Definitely be good
perfect.
team building kind of events for local communities.
Yeah, honestly, whenever we have new players at our store that or someone who's just like, "Oh, that like looks cool." That's the first thing that I do with them is I'll just hand them two of my ship's dials and say, "Hey, you plan these. We're gonna, just do this doubles."
Yeah,
It it's casual. It's I think a great way to introduce people to the game. But I also think that next year they should have that opposite the heats so that everyone has a chance to play because I think it
that'd be
has
great.
enough juice to be its own
Yeah.
tournament. It's
Yeah, and I know there's a slight transition, and let's maybe steal a little in Nick's thunder here, but just a shout out for team events. NCX 312. A captain I'm a captain in the NCX side, Outer Rim Heroes, but a team member for the 312 league. If you haven't been on a team before, I really recommend giving it a shot. It's great to be somewhere where you're playing with. I mean, I've been on teams with Ollie Pakna. I've been on teams with with other players that are just tremendous skill, and you sit there and you can have a conversation or chat with them and not feel like they're out to get you.
yeah,
They're out there to team build, make you better, and you're there to help them too. If it's a practice game because they got a big match coming up, and it's okay to lose those games because you're trying to make your team member better. You can go and get absolutely destroyed, but feel great because your team won for the week. It's a great format. It's a great way to build a community. And we get new players all the time that, I've gone in and on the XWA Discord and shown people how to use TTS. Spend an hour or two with them. They're always welcome to reach out again and I can always help again. But it's how we build the community, keep the community strong.
Yeah, very, very much so. That could be a good segue, though, Tony. I appreciate that shout out because we are running our own team league. This is the 5th season. It starts on May 11th. Ticket sales are going to end on May the 4th. So How does it? There's two different leagues. There's a casual, competitive. Casual is really fun because there's a bounty requirement and a bounty system. So victory points at the end of a week don't necessarily determine if your team won that week. There's also bounty points you have to factor in as well. So if you want to have some fun list building challenges and have a good time, you can join the casual side. But we also have an awesome competitive side of the team league as well. So there's still time to sign up. There will be links in the description on our rules doc and info on the league and how you can get your ticket. The $5 entry helps 312 with our operating costs, like traveling to Worlds and other events that we have planned in the future, give you guys good X-Wing content. We really appreciate that. And if there's any reason where you really want to play, but that $5 isn't doable, please reach out to me. We'll make sure you get to play, because I want to make sure you can play. That's the most important thing to me and to us and to keeping X-Wing going. And then on the Conquest Series side, we have 4 qualifiers throughout the year, but the first one is next weekend on April 11th. So make sure you sign up and play in that one. We're selling prize tickets as well. The entry fee for these conquests go towards fundraising for XWA and for our channel as well. But we donated over $1,200 to XWA with our raffle and conquest entries last year. So super excited to be able to help the organization again with that. And it's a great way for you guys to get in and get some awesome TTS swag and just play some structured online X-Wing for a day with us. Really fun.
Roy, what do I do if I don't have a teammate? Can I still sign up for the team league?
Yeah, so if you don't have a teammate, you can sign up as an independent player and we'll get placed on a team randomly. Or you can look for a team if you want to join one that other people are looking to form a team, or if they're trying to fill a gap in their existing team, you can ask to join directly as well. So you can sign up individually or as an independent player if you don't have a team. It's up to you. There's also team bundles as well. If you're a captain and you want to set up your whole team, and usually it's $5 a player, but the whole team of 5, it's only $15 if you sign up for the bundle. So good way to get some good value there.
Ooh.
Lots of options. Thanks, Tony, for asking that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was like great question.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. He's a natural.
Seriously, yeah.
He's the champ. All right, Andrew, you want to take us away with our outro?
Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening to this episode and continuing to support us here at 312. It was an honor to be able to be the channel to bring you Worlds coverage and to capture the moment Tony won it all. We look forward to a bright and action-packed year ahead. And if you aren't already following us on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, you should. Links are in the description. And 312 is excited to be producing exclusive alt art cards featuring new XWA pilots and upgrades for their patrons. Consider supporting us on Patreon and get rewarded with some awesome swag. Lastly, we're proud to be sponsored by Infinite Arenas. Head to Infinite Arenas to get your fix of X-Wing compatible components, including accessible card printing, physical game assets, and much more. And that link also in the description. I'm Andrew Kouba.
I'm Nick Sperry.
I'm Tony.
And signing off.